And this time I'm trying to record at the same time. Hopefully this is not a complete mess then of doing both things at the same time. I didn't even open up that, actually. You're right. Let me do that as well, actually, because I might end up using that. I should open that up to the right page. Oh god, not to that page, to the right page. Cool. That'll do. That page will do. Cool. Let's get a bit more comfortable, actually. I'm going to be here for a while. So, this is mainly for the VOD because I probably won't have viewers, but I'm a game developer, mainly in AAA at the moment, at least for my job. But my goal right now is to complete a side project because I have had a lot of trouble starting side projects and not ending them. My goal is to actually try my best, at least, to start a game project and then end the game project and actually release it on Steam and actually have it be an actual thing that I actually have out there, which might be a bit of a struggle just because I don't end things very often. The goal of the first goal really now is to try to get a game engine started, try to get something on the screen, try to maybe get key inputs, something like that with some graphics on there. I'm going to be using MonoGame. MonoGame, if I bring up this page over here, and we go into done some research just in general inside of here. MonoGame is made a whole bunch of games, stuff like Stardew Valley, Celeste, things of that nature. It's based on Microsoft's XNA, and technically SDL is like one part of that, so the rendering engine of it. But that's what I'm going to be using as sort of like the base framework of the actual thing, mainly because I like C# and because it's just me alone. And I'm going to be trying to make something, at least trying to make a game and trying to make my own engine off of it, rather than trying to go down Godot. Really don't want to try to go down the Unity way because I'd really would rather not have a bunch of licensing issues. And MonoGame rather, if I go over to just MonoGame's general thing, is entirely free. Here we go. No licensing costs, no royalties, no runtime fee. You have to make it though. You have to make the whole engine, the whole tools, everything. Well, I've done it before. And I've done it before with a different project of mine. So if I go into here, I did it before with some of my university projects. So this project over here, I actually did it with a remake of Super Mario Bros. I'm not going to play because of copyright issues. In SDL, which is a similar thing. It's a framework. You have to make your own thing. I've done it once before. I can do it again. And this is what I'm going to be doing now. Try my best to make another engine, this time with a more full game, not just one level of Super Mario Bros. And a tool, with a full game. So what you get with this here, oh, by the way, if we need to actually switch sides here, I can do this as well. So you can see there's a bunch of files on the other side over here. So we can switch sides, so don't worry about me being on the side. What you actually get is literally just a screen. Oh, there we go. A screen to render from. And the ability to package images in, and then you get keyboard sounds, and you can export this to Switch and that kind of stuff. Well, that's all you get. Actually, they actually give you a bit more code, actually, than I thought. Cornflower blue is your background, and draw. Let's go back into here. And Let's go into understanding the code. They give you a bunch of code to start doing stuff with, to make your sprite batch and all that gubbins. And what I would like to do, ideally, inside of here, is I would like to try to add myself a nice little gameplay loop. That would be something that would manage keyboards and maybe, actually no, first make a scene, then make keyboards. Yeah, let's do a scene. So let's do something like scene, let's just put scenes. Let's call it just scenes. And we'll just have it be a little thing inside of here. And we'll just have it be a little thing inside of here. Yes, we want to add everything into our... Oh, yes. We've not actually added everything here into our source control. There we go. Let's add all this into our source control so I don't mess up. And this as well. There we go. This is complaining here. Oh. Don't worry about that too much. I don't think I should worry about that too much. It might be an issue when we come to actually package it later, but you can package this stuff in various different ways inside of like Android and things of that nature at a later date anyway, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to say void update the float time delta. So time delta, this here is game time. Ah, it's a class that gives you everything. Okay, that sounds something more than good enough. That's, yeah, I'll give us something more than good enough. Just making sure that music didn't actually stop there. Game time, that's good enough for me. Okay. We probably want something to draw. How are we going to get this to actually do our drawing though? So this here, how do we draw anything? Maybe I'm overthinking this before we even start here. Adding content. We add content via that. Yes, understand how that's lots. We have a texture ball texture. We registered that into, we load that into the text 2D. And then we just draw it. So we need a sprite patch given to it at some point. So that's all we need. All we need is a sprite batch. It's easy enough. Sprite batch. That should be good enough. I don't know why draw needs game time. Why does draw need game time? Yeah, why does draw need game time? What a weird thing to give game time. But base draw needs game time over here. Usually you wouldn't care. Interesting. Okay. Okay, whatever. But as long as we've got sprite batch inside of our thing, we should be able to register our... We should be able to register new texture 2Ds. We should be able to give it our new textures. We should be able to do whatever we want with it. And we might need to at some point add other things into that setup. Things like the keyboards and things of that nature. So maybe we need more things into there. But I think for now, I think that's fine. Okay. That seems fine. I'm going to leave comments for now because I don't know how much all that's going to change. That's going to change a whole bunch. There's probably something called scene. There most definitely is something called scene. So I'm going to call this... Venture is just my code name for this engine, by the way. So I'm going to call this Venture Scene, because I no doubt know there's probably something called scene inside of Mono. I'm going to go ahead and just do that. I'm going to go ahead and just have it like this, just so I know all my scenes have these on them. This is just the way you make this. Oh my god, I think there's an easier way of doing this, but whatever. Okay. So let's make a basic one just so we can make sure that I've given this everything that it actually needs. Private, sprite batch. We go, God. This sprite batch equals sprite batch. Throw new name of that, just so I know that I have messed up. That'll just assign it for me. Are you gonna, is Ryder gonna just like, no, whatever. I thought Ryder was gonna show me some new ways of doing it. Sometimes it does, miraculously. Which is fine. Okay, update and draw. So inside of here, we're going to, just for the purposes of testing, we're going to create a bool inside of here. We're going to say have update equals false. False is default. And we're going to say if have update, then we're going to register a... We could do with a pre-setup, actually. We'll refactor this a second into a setup. Random texture. We'll say... I should put this on this, actually. What was the syntax over here? The syntax over here was content load. That, and that there is because it was loaded into the... So if I switch over to this one over here, things are loaded into this majigger over here in a particular way where you add a key and you stick them into here. Now this here serializes it. So if you ever used Unity, what Unity does is it serializes things when you stick it inside of your asset browsery thing, and everything that gets used serializes it. In Unreal, it does the exact same thing. It makes a little package for you, serializes it, jobs are good. And Mono does the exact same thing. That's its serializer, that content MGCB. So if you stick it inside of there, it will serialize it and make it all nice and small. You don't have to use it. There is another way of using it. It's not pretty. It's inside the documentation. But there is another way of doing it. I could just go and add my own thing in there if I remember where the code is. There is a way of doing it. MTP editor. I don't want the editor particularly, but using why use, don't really care. Somewhere in here it will tell me how to grab the code. That's the output directory, it's the immediate, that's the clean, it's the incremental, don't really care. Somewhere in here it tells you where build a texture importer. Oh, I think it's there. I think it's just that. And as long as it's in here somewhere, it will do it relative to where you are. So if I go and make a little texture, it'll do it. So I'm gonna do it this way. One moment. I don't want to show my Windows browsery thing. Let's just do that, and let's do that. There we go. Let's just make something random. I don't know, 100 by 100. That'll do. Sure. Let's do this again, just so I can stick this in the right folder. Let me just go find the folder. Development. Oh my god, I have a lot of folders. Venture, content. Call it textures. Inside of here, we'll call this. Oh god, it's forcing me to use. It's forcing me to make a PSD because of course it is. Okay, let's try this again. Development. Venture game, venture, content, textures. Okay, now we're in random, there. Okay, now if I go back into this, there. And now if I go back into here, I have made random.png. And for some reason it's not actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually, we've not broken things. Actually, we might have broken things because this is red. Let's just do that. If I haven't broken things, I'm going to just push this to my Git. Did we break things yet? Oh, of course we did. I did this. Can I? Oh, it'll be. I pressed insert. It'll be hash. Here. Come on. Do it. Give me a screen. Give me a screen so I can push it to Git. Okay, good. I'm just going to push this to Git just so I don't end up being very upset when things don't actually work. Initial first commit of engine. We'll go with that. That's fine. I don't care about to-dos. Okay, awesome. Right, so random.png, that is here. We should be able to do this relative to something, and I'm not sure what it's relative to. It's relative to, I think it's relative to the content, this content folder, but I can't remember because the rest of it is also relative to it because the bin folder is relative to it, but I think that's what it's relative to. We can test this by grabbing this code that was somewhere in here and actually trying it. Adding content, and we can grab this code over here. Do not really care too much, but we can do it here. I don't. Did we not grab this already? It gives us some boilerplate code, so I don't know what we've actually grabbed and what we have not grabbed. We want it to grab this. So that, I guess. Okay, and then draw it for me down here. Wait, did I store ball texture? Apparently I did. That might not work for various reasons. We'll find out. Okay, good. Content file was not found. Content textures random png.xnb. because it was looking for one that was inside of there. I can manage it. I can manage it. I can manage it. I don't reference an assembly path. I want to reference an image. Oh. Instructs the builder to build a specific content file using the previous set switches. That's the wrong bit then, isn't it? Build probably is incorrect then. Wait. Where did I read that? Content file path, destination file path. I've done this once before. I'm going to bring up something. This one. Because I have done this before. Once in... Nope, not that one. I have too many bloody... I have too many side projects. Can you see this as a problem for me? Having too many side projects? Okay, this is my first attempt at doing this before. I'm going to go into here and I'm going to see how we did it inside of here. Content. Wasn't done inside of this one. Was it inside of this one? Was it done inside of any subsequent one? It's not done inside of here, then I might have to actually download this thing. Yeah, there's no bloody thing in here. I don't think I did it before then. I mustn't have done it before this way. Oh well. Output directory, config platform. I can get this to work. Can I? How to add images to MonoGame content via text. Yes, via text, not via this. You're not adding... I really don't want to have to download. I really don't want to have to download this tool. If I possibly can avoid it, I might have to download this tool just once, just so I can see the syntax comes out the other end. Let's see. Do I even have this tool? MGCB. I do not. Oh my god. The installation instructions are not even easy for me to do on a Windows device. Download.net, right? Oh, there's an alternative. There is an alternative. In here, there's an alternative. This. This is technically an alternative. We'll use this for now. I remembered that there's technically an alternative. But I need the graphics manager. Pass down. I can do that though. We can do that. Why are you complaining? I don't exactly know why it's... No. That's why it's complaining. It was complaining because I added a apostrophe there. That's fine. Cool. The location will be wherever this file location is. There, please. There. Okay, next. I hate that I know that there's a thing, but I knew there's a thing because I was trying to add modding at one point into this. That was why I knew that there was a thing. Okay, so back to adding content. Oh, actually, before we do that there, let's grab this code here. And stick it into here. Just to see if it works. Graphics device manager. They use underscore graphics. Graphics device. Let's just see if it still works. Because if it doesn't still work, then what am I doing? Okay, so at least the hacky way of doing it still works. Wait, this is in here now. This is in here now. Has Ryder just done it for me? Did Ryder just do it for me without me having to do anything? No. I don't know what Ryder just did. But Ryder did something for me. Oh, contents. Yeah, random PNG maybe. Content textures. Oh, do I have to type in the whole path? I don't know. What have I tried? I have tried random. I have tried. Let's go through them. Let's go through the permutations. There is content, there is random, there is content random textures. Let's go through the permutations to see which one is the one that will work. Not the first one. Let's go and switch this over to this side. You don't need this side. You need to see me pressing play and stop continually. That's what you need to see. Okay, no, not that one. I'm pressing stop again. I am doing this. Is it? I really hope it's not because I use backslash instead of forward slash. They just used the word ball. How did they add it in? Good point, actually. How did they add it in? They said copy it to the directory. Interesting. This maybe. No. Ah, so this here did actually stick this in. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. I'm going to try /. Just because I'm thinking that maybe it's being a stickler about it being a file path. No. It is not being a stickler about it being a file path. Okay, one more chat. Oh god, you cut this one in. You cut that one in. Okay. And this one. Is it being a stickler about /? No. Okay. Here's a question then. I have this open now. Delete this. Can I delete this? Edit. Delete? No? You're not letting me do that? Okay. I'll delete this. I'll delete it. You'll rebuild. Come on, rebuild. Right? You rebuilt now, right? Okay. I will do exactly what it does in the tutorial instead. A what? Actually, what? What do I add? It doesn't really say. Add an existing item. So now it's in there. So which one of my random pieces of garbage code actually would have worked? I must know which one of my pieces of code would have worked though. Okay, so it must be text as random PNG. It must be this. Let's try it. Nope. Random at the end? Content file was not found. Wait, did I not follow every step? Am I just not doing that, perhaps? And the sprite gets the sprite badge. guess the sprite batch. That's fine. And that's a PNG. So it's not like it's not a PNG. Textures random. So why won't you load? I actually remember something about Rider in this case, actually. That it actually, when you do this here, if it works, it actually shows up with the actual things. In here, it says to me that it's not loaded correctly. Which is frustrating. I can see it here. Oh, copy asset name. Text is random. But, oh, the type perhaps. Importer, texture importer, maybe. Maybe it wasn't importing as the right texture type. I don't know. No, it definitely is, because texture 2D from down here. Does it? That's not the right one. You can do it from here. It's not like read only or something like that, is it? Nope. I can't do the most simple thing. That is so frustrating. Do I have to... Oh. Don't tell me that was it. I'm just going too fast. Am I going too fast for it? I didn't press save. Every single time you do something in this application, you have to press save, apparently. I need a break for that. That's just ridiculous. Okay. Okay. Awesome. So textures random is there. I'm going to get rid of it. We no longer need inside of scene. I would like it to have... Actually, no, it's not going to be it entirely. I would like it to have the ability to do both that and the other one. For now, I will leave these two things in for that very reason. So now we're going to just continue on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it for this code. I want the scene to be able to do what we just did. Oh, content. What is content? Content is content manager. Okay, so the ability to load textures in is something that the content manager has as part of game, I assume. Yeah, content manager here. Okay. I think all this here is probably going to be in a little class, essentially, at some point. We're going to add in, like, ability to load things in, I think. but for now we're just going to stick it all in this big setup. Cool. Content manager. Let's do this. Next step. Virtual scene has this here. That one there has that one there. You're going to do that. You're going to do that. Private content manager. Content manager. This graphic. This here. Content manager. Throw new. Oh God. Just copy this, please. Content manager. Okay, so hopefully that works. Now, let's go back up to our game. The way that it did this next phase was it did this. It had a sprite batch, which basically means it started the idea of accumulating all the things it needs to render, and then it rendered it, and then it stopped rendering it, essentially. That there was the final thing that it did. We just need to, considering we don't necessarily need it to own the idea of rendering itself. We don't necessarily need it to begin and end the sprite batch, but we can. We can have it deal with that itself. The scene can, at this stage, do that. And that's why we have it use the sprite batch. And the random texture is here. So now, without anything in this end of the code, do we actually have it working? We do not. Oh, because we never actually made a scene. What we actually have to do is we actually have to say private scene. This, maybe. That's fine. And we will say inside of probably load content equals new venture scene. This main scene setup equals this sprite batch. This graphics. This content. That. Then inside of update, we just say this main scene. Update game time. And then down here we just say this main scene draw. And hopefully that worked. There we go. Whew. Okay. So let's commit that to Git first. Started concept of a scene. Oh, that just went away there. There we go. Okay. I'm going to sit over here, I think, for the most part. It's probably a better place to sit than the other side, because over this side there's not really a lot going on other than the play button. Okay. Now we have to review what I've just done, really. So what I've really done is I've realized that you need these three things here to be able to do anything with creating anything to do with the visuals of a engine, with the visuals of what you're rendering to the screen, essentially. So with that in mind, I should be sticking these things together such that we can ask for a texture, and perhaps even drawing that texture, perhaps something like that, probably, because what's going to happen below this is going to be whatever elements are below this. Okay, let's go do that then. That in mind, let's have a see then. So there's scenes. We're going to change this around probably to maybe loop management. So loop management is the idea that we're going to manage when we update, when we draw, and how we do all that kind of gubbins. So inside there is also going to be stuff like this element is on top of the other one. What I'm also going to add in here then is a package then in a folder or just in general. It's a getter. Is it a getter or is it a service? Let's call this engine. Yeah, I like that. And then inside of here, we'll go with iGraphics service. But I don't want to do a full on that. We'll go with that. And here, what this is going to give back out of here is everything that this here had to touch out of. So it had to give in a string. You have to give in a string and get out a texture 2D. Sort of. Try get texture. String name. Out texture 2D. Tries to get a texture 2D. Try get texture from content. If in content serializer. How the hell do you spell that word? I'll do it over here. That's a good point. Serializer. That's not how you Serializer. That's closer. That's closer. Okay. Name of the content to load. If found, the texture. True means the texture was found. Assists in finding and rendering graphics to the screen. Cool. Next. The next thing that I had to do, I guess we could also do URL as well, to be fair, is sprite batch draw. But draw could have a whole bunch of different things attached to it. But for now, all we had to do was these three, which was, I'm not sure what color. Oh, color's like an overdraw color onto it. Yeah, draws on almost all of them. Color rather than almost all of them. So I think color's pretty universal. And there's a layer depth as well. It's pretty cool. Ah, but layer depth will probably only work if you did a sprite batch. Because what sprite batch will do is it grab everything together and render it as like a piece. Yeah, we could probably do texture, location, color as this here. And we'll just add the rest of them. Texture 2D. Vector 2. Color. To be fair, if you did white, it's always going to be that, isn't it? Pretty sure it's the XNA version. XNA version. Okay. Okay. Draws the given texture. Texture to draw. Should probably say like whether or not it's going to manage. Maybe that's like a background thing. Maybe you never actually deal with it at this stage because we're probably going to be passing this about. That's a good point actually. Maybe the scene manager manages the sprite batch situation, and all this manages is that one line. I like that. Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do here is going to say something like that. I can't remember how Rider handles this. Like garbage. Okay. He never re-adds these comments into here. Okay. So what we do here, I think it accepts if we can't do this properly. I'm pretty sure it does. It throws an exception if we can't do this properly. So what we need, well, firstly what we need is a way for this to exist. And we know the things that it needs. It needs these three. We know it needs these three. So now we know it needs these three. It's pretty easy. Because we can just say sprite batch, graphics device manager, these. Got it. Okay. Graphics device manager. Rendering engine. Content manager handles the content library. I don't need one onto here. They can read the above. Sprite batch. Do that. Awesome. Let's try not to go over that line. Okay, jobs are good. And down here. What we need to do is we need to grab the line that we have in here. Now I don't know what exception this throws. Text 2D return texture. Something like that. I don't know here what exception this throws on load. Argument null, object disposed. I think it's an object disposed then, I imagine. Oh no, it's probably going to be inside of this guy over here, and then it's probably going to know what it is. We're just going to catch the exception and then return texture. No, not return texture. That. And then return did find texture. That. Cool. Now this here is going to say, oh, this is really expensive, right? Is this what this is saying here? Only use in load. Because you only should use it in load. Supplementation of the graphic service. And it helps if I can spell implementation. Okay, draw texture. Draw texture is only going to do this line. That is it. That is literally it. Now the thing is that will be passed into scene, but not yet. We want something to pass into scene, like a scene manager. And the scene manager, that will probably handle the sprite batch. And that there would encompass this graphic service. The draw of all the scenes around the sprite batch. But what we will do now is we will say this. We will say graphic service is a requirement of IC. That's our new thing. I could do is I really want a better namespace for all this crap up here, but whatever. Then we're going to have this just go boop. And then I want this here to go boop, boop, boop. Like that. So now all this cares about is that. Now what we care about is try get texture from content. Asks for this. Out is this. And we say this. And then down here. Well, we could actually say like is true if you wanted to test that. Draw. I want to draw this random texture. And oh look, new vector to 0, 0. And I don't want to do this here. I don't have that there. New simple graph service. This sprite batch. This graphics device. This content. Oh, is this wrong? This graphics device, graphics in general. That's a lot of. That might be a bit overkill. That might be a bit overkill there. But here we'll have to go this sprite batch begin. Because at the moment, our engine, our game 1, is acting like the main scene. And now if we press play, nothing has changed, but we have refactored things. There we go. We have refactored things, but nothing has changed. There we go. And that is how you refactor things. How long have I been going on for today? Oh, about an hour. It's nice and easy. Okay. So this whole have update situation over here. Our game over here does actually have a load content. Now I don't know when that runs. So understanding your code. Game constructor tells the project how to start. The initialize method initialize the game upon its startup. The load and unload content methods are used to add and remove assets from the running game upon the content. Assets from the running game from the content project. That's fine. One moment. Instance variables, that's fine. Constructor initialize method. Initialize method is called after the constructor but before the main game loop. Update and draw. This is when you can query any requested services and load any non-graphics related content. Load content method. Load content method is used to load your game content. It is called only once per game within the initialize method before the main game loop starts. Okay. So we could do a load method instead of having all of this. So we could have a load inside of here. And we would move things around a bit. We would have load. And instead of having this have update, we would just have this in here. And then that's not public. And then the update wouldn't do anything in there. Then we would probably move this stuff into here. Then we would move this stuff into here, and we would say load, and nothing would have changed. In theory. Oh. We couldn't set up this then. Because you can't do any graphicsy stuff that early on. You're right there. You can't do any graphicsy stuff that early on. So yeah, we shouldn't really need to do an initialize. Load content's probably fine. To be fair, we could probably just do a this thing exists here. I don't think it's going to matter too much. It's C#. Yeah, I'm happy with that. What I really want now is gamepad, keyboard, I want scene to own something now. Something that can change based upon inputs that it does something with. So instead of just like a general venture scene, which is just like a test scene essentially, I want this scene to be like a test scene for the keyboard or something, and maybe with like an image of a keyboard, perhaps. This is executing a command down here. What are you executing? I don't know what this thing is executing, but it's doing something. Okay. Right. How are we going to manage something like that? How would we go about doing that? Will we make something custom? Perhaps. We could make something custom to do that. What we would definitely want to do is we would definitely want to add something in the actual thing that managed the whole inputs. So we want something that manages when you press a button, it does X, Y, Z. That's definitely what we want to do. 100%, that's definitely what we want to do. So, and then we want a way of like remapping those things with like a file somewhere. There is a whole bunch of images on itch.io with those things on that we could just import into this that we can use and go from there. What I do want to do is I want to commit all this stuff. Refact, cleaned up, added load function method. Don't use function. This time I'm going to push it so it's actually loaded. Okay. Plus 3 commits to origin. Okay. Let me think about how this might work. Let's see. Let's grab up this here. Let's grab up a design document. Key input test scene. Outlines the inputs. Outlines the scene, testing the key inputs. Okay. What I really want is this guy. This guy is the main bit that I would like. So we have our little scene here. fact, we have, technically we have our game engine bit up here. And we want this to be a sort of, can we do that over here? Yeah, that's fine. We have this as sort of one-to-many. Is that actually a 1? That was a 1. One-to-many. Relationship over here. So one game engine will own many scenes, probably via a manager at some point. And then we'll probably end up having some kind of game object. Almost every single game ends up having a game object at some point below it, right? So we have our scene here, and almost every single game has some kind of game object eventually below it. And all the way down through this, you end up owning many of these. And then below all of this here, you have your actual specific logic things down here that actually like do stuff. Like the things that actually are these, that literally are these. That's sort of the way that sort of goes. Like that. So how do I do this here? Do I make a game object and give it that graphicsy thing, that keyboardy thing, perhaps a soundy thing, and say, go for it, son, and go from there? Or do I have something else? So at the moment we have a graphics service thing over here, which isn't really a proper service, but it's just a little module that just owns the things from that. It doesn't exist without this, right? But it's passed through into scene, right? Do I pass this all the way through into this? That wouldn't be the worst idea in the universe. It would mean it can manage its own drawer, and then we can call it drawer. That's fine. I'm happy with passing, at the moment, I'm happy with passing down its own drawer. Because that means game object could have a tile set. Game object could have its own sprite implementation. Fine with that. Graphics service is not the worst thing it could have. However, here is the little thing that might be a little bit difficult. If we have a key input situation, yes, I can pass this all the way in from, through the chain, all the way down through that chain into game object. But where, pray tell, in this diagram, would I have the idea that... Oh, you keep your controller. That this button here is universally now mapped to jump, not, you know, this button here. It's not jump. Where is that logic living here? That's the question I need to answer now. Is that something that I do? Or is that something that the game does as well? That's also important as well, because like Unity manages that for you. Godot manages that for you. Game Maker manages that for you. A lot of other engines manage that for you. Well, you can manage that yourself and just pass that information about if you really wanted to. Not doing statics in any of this. That's out the window. I think that as part of key input, what we pass around we should be able to manipulate that data, and that should be what we pass about to anything. Whether or not we manipulate that via an enum that we cast via integers, I do not know. So that's what I reckon. Let me get rid of this. That's what I reckon. So I reckon inside of here, this is the thing that we're going to pass around. I'm going to clear this at some point. We'll have probably key input, gamepad input. But also what we'd have in here is gameplay input. Now, what gameplay input would do, is it would, you can do transparency on here. What? I know you can do transparency on here. Oh, Phil, there we go. There we go. Okay, so what gameplay input would do is it would say, here's an input from the gamepad. I'm going to assign that to this value because you've told me to. And the same with key inputs. And then what you do with that is whatever you want, my friend. I do not care. And I'll fire off whatever events you want me to fire off. I will do whatever. But that's all I do, is I just manage the idea that these two things are coupled inside of this. But vitally, I am inside of the thing that gets passed around to everything. And we're going to call this service. We're going to call this service game input service. Very creative name, and be more creative if draw let me do that. Game input service, and it manages all of it. Okay, I'm going to save that so I can tidy this up, make this look pretty in my own time. Awesome. But that's the idea. And we're going to go from there. So with that in mind, we're going to make another folder. Game input. I want to make an API. It's going to be called game input service. That's fine. I don't want any of this to actually have. Can we get rid of that? So I'm going to just do that instead. That's probably better. I don't want. I just can't stand too much of this. Having like namespace creep too much. So we're having game input service, and for now all I care about is keyboard service. So keyboard input service. We'll go with that for now. Now I do not know how to do keyboard input. No idea. We can do get state, is key down, and there's a key. We'll do that. So keyboard service does bool is key down, keys key, and we'll do that. I imagine there's more. We will implement them one by one. Keyboard input service. What? No. That's wrong. I don't know what happened there. I think did I drag it by accident? Okay, I dragged it by accident. That was weird. Okay. Key down. Is key down. Is key down. Okay, is key down. What do I need for this? I need... Oh, this is a public static as well. Now, you might be wondering why I'm making all of these myself, and why, pray tell, I am making these all... why I'm making these all interfaces and things of that nature. That is because I will be doing test-driven development on these at some point when I make these into separate projects and go off and do the next stage of this, which is more refactoring. We'll probably end up using test-driven development on all of these, especially with this bit where it's keyboard input. We will be making it seem as though I have pressed a key down and seeing what my system actually does in code to confirm my functionality. And we can do that by using this interface where there's no actual code in there. There is just the idea that a key is or is not pressed down. That is why I'm making interfaces. But for now, we're just using the static, stick it inside of there, and that's the actual thing. So it's almost like a front. It's a face in front of the actual implementation. So this here is just going to provide this. Get keyboard input service. That's all it's going to do. And we're going to do a class. And we're going to do get keyboard input service, keyboard input service. And we're going to do this. We're going to do private keyboard input service. Keyboard input service. This keyboard input service. Throw new argument. Exception. Name of. There we go. Now we should... Oh, I need to do this. I give up service. Be able to grab this. And go ahead and do this. I could do a getter there instead. Watch this. We could do this. Get private set. If I do that instead, we could actually do this instead. So we say that. And I think that works. Does that not work? Is that not the way you do it? Oh, you didn't call the right thing. Let's call the right thing. There we are. Oh yeah, it could be made get only because you could do gets inside a virtual constructor. I forgot that thing. C# is amazing. And then it's just a get. And you have to have. Awesome. So, inside of a scene, we're going to have this a input service. Just going to require this game input service. We don't need it for this one. It's going to need it in here, but we don't need it for this test. And what we are going to do instead is we're going to add a keyboard test scene. And this test scene, we're going to grab all of the contents of this one, grab it, stick it into here, and we're going to make this an I scene. Do all that stuff to it. Go into here, make main scene a keyboard test scene. Now we'll need it. So there. And now inside of here, new gameport service, which needs this. Which means this here is getting a bit much, but constructors get a bit much occasionally, so that's fine. Constructors can get a bit long, that's fine. That's a perfectly acceptable thing for constructors to get. Okay, so we actually have input now inside of our thing. So here's what we're going to do. We have our Photoshop here. We're going to do this. I'm going to type A into here. This one, Shift. We're going to type A into here. We're not in the right folder here. I want to go into the right folder by navigating whilst my screen is not showing all of my folders, which I probably have shown at least once, but I would like to avoid as much as possible. Let's just add it into Venture Assets A. There we go. So now we've got A. Now, I cannot do that way. I don't know why it's making... Oh, it's because it's CMYK. Now it will, won't it? Yeah. Ah, why do you do this to me? Okay. Hey. Now I'm going to change the color to this color. Those are the colors I had for the actual overlay, so I already had these colors ready for me. Pressed. Cool. Now we're going to go into here. I'm going to press this button that Ryder just seems to have just added for me for some reason. And we are going to make a little folder called keyboard. And we will just for now add existing item. I put them inside of here. Copy the file. Copy the file. And vitally, remember to save. Because I did not remember to save before. There we go. Ah, see, I now could see that I was doing it. I knew you could do it via text inside of here. You have to do a whole bunch more crap. Okay. Okay, well, whatever. So, keyboard test scene. What we will do is we will say bool render rest, and we'll say this input service. Oh yes, that is key down, keys A. If we should not be polling this every single frame, but whatever. Oh, actually, to be fair, we could just do that. Let's not overcomplicate this. This is a bool, so okay. And then down here, we'll just say if this, else something else. Okay, so instead of random texture, so up here we had random texture. So, okay. Instead of random texture, we're going to rename this to a texture unpressed. I'm going to do that, and we're going to say pressed. So, we're going to make that the unpressed one, we're going to make that the pressed one. We can actually go into here and we can say copy asset. So the wait, which one did we copy? The pressed one. So the pressed one is this, and I guess the unpressed one is the one without the word pressed on it. Cool. So with that in mind, we go down to here. We want it to be that one. And go for it, I guess. So where's it gonna happen? That just works. You can hear it, I can see it on the thing. Especially if you mute this. Yeah, see? We're cooking on gas. We are cooking on gas. Okay. So, we have key inputs. Right. I'm going to drink the rest of this because it's 6:07. I do not want to be up all night. So now, I guess it's a case of adding in an entire keyboard and figuring out what the limits are of this as my little test scene. And then adding a scene manager to all of this. So what I'm going to do now is inside of here. So this here is my, actually to be fair, first things first actually. Added key input test scene. That's a great commit. Did you add the textures? I did not. I don't know why it's not auto adding them. There we go. Now it's adding them automatically. That moves a bit loud then for some reason. I don't know why. There we go. All the files are in. Let's commit that. Cool. Push to origin. Okay. Now, let's go into issues and let's review what needs to be done, ready for the next time that we do things. So, add a keyboard input scene for all keys. Test all keyboard inputs to see the limits. Limits method to detect all inputs. For instance, Shift key, Shift, Alt, Tab keys, etc. Because I have no idea how those work. 100%. Let's add a gamepad input test scene. Add a gamepad input test scene. Test out on at least one gamepad. Probably more. Because where did I throw it? Yeah. Because, I mean, this here it probably is not going to, well, might work on it because it's probably X input because it's the new one, Switch Online one, but I imagine different controllers will work very differently. In my experience, that's the way they tend to go. Literally turns around and looks at a Guitar Hero controller. Oh my. Add ability to reassign controls. Basic. Add basic ability to reassign controls, or add metadata to controls to assist game objects. Okay, I think that's good for now about what we'd end up doing there. And these here will just sit here for now, and we'll make sure we don't forget them. Oh, also, we need to make sure we manage the sprite batch in Scene Manager. Create Scene Manager and add sprite batch begin and end incorrect places. Graphics service does not manage this. Just so that I don't forget to do that. Okay. Because I know that I will. I know 100% that I will forget that. Okay. So. Let's see. We never use the bool. That's fine now. What is the best way of managing how to do any of this? This here is just a test scene. It's not really a game object duration. It doesn't need to be at this stage. I don't need to worry about how to manage the game objects and all of that gubbins right now. That seems like a very future Scott kind of problem. Because at this point, all I need to figure out is how am I going to handle input, how am I going to handle output. So inputs being keyboards, outputs being graphics, sound, input and output also being saving and loading. As long as I can handle those, I can make a game. Oh, and game time, but we have that built in. As long as I have those, I know I can make a game. 100%. Because I've definitely made games like that before. So, what I need, I guess then, is to grab all of the... If we're going to go all the way down to the keyboard set situation, I would need to go grab all of the keyboards, images from itch.io, add some logic to them, probably send it, make a nice little method constructor, go all the way down that path. Don't necessarily need to do that right this second. I'm pretty confident in all that stuff. The gamepad one, the thing is, this is called keyboard test scene. I need to rename this scene slightly. To game input test scene. Because I want to test more than just keyboard. I want to test this. I don't know what this means. I don't know what that means. Or any of this means. I kind of know what button back means. Player index 1. Does this only work on X pads? X input pads? Maybe. Is this actually a... This isn't even... This is an enum. This just doesn't even work above 8 players. Wow. I wonder if other games just redo their way of doing this. Gamepad buttons. A, B, back, X, Y. Yep, this is all big buttons. What are the big buttons? Oh, it's big button. Oh, is the big button the Xbox controller button? Big X. Okay. And then the gamepad button. Okay. That's just the constructor. That's fine. Right. Oh, and then to string it output. That's curious. So if you do to string, it outputs it all to the console. That would be useful when debugging this. That would be useful. Okay. I think that's more than useful enough. And button state, what have we got here? Pressed, released. Nothing on sticks. Yes, you're right there. Nothing on sticks. You can set the vibration. Oh, I can make things vibrate. Oh, I never thought about that. Left motor, left trigger, right trigger. Yep. This is probably all background stuff. It's all internal. I'll just search, I don't know, stick. Has left stick button. Has right stick button. Is that all? Is that the only place you actually use stick? Left. Axis left X. Axis, maybe? There's a bit of SDL in there. So S axis. Game thumbsticks. Gamepad thumbsticks. Where do they get used? Gamepad state. Must be able to get the gamepad thumbsticks from somewhere. Inside of here, maybe? Reference. A stroke that represents the current stick. 2 vectors, left position, right position. Position on the left thumbstick. On the right thumbstick. Oh, literal like X and Y? Okay. Operators. Okay, but what do they belong to? Do they belong to game state? Gamepad state? Where was it? Gamepad state? This here returns a gamepad state. Yes. Gamepad state. Gamepad state. It just threw me back into here. Here. Gamepad state. Represents specific information about the gamepad state. It gets the thumbsticks into there. And you can get the thumbsticks back out of there via thumbsticks. So that's how you do it. So you get the thumbsticks, you get the triggers, you get the gamepad buttons, and you get the D-pad back out. And it looks like it requires X input, probably. I'm assuming they require X input to work. Okay. Well, if they require X input to work, then they require X input to work. I guess we will try one of them. So we'll go into here and we will do class interface, gamepad input service. Technically it's both ways, but we'll go with it. Button is pressed. Index pad. Game button. Is that what it is? Work your way backwards. What was it on here? Buttons. Maybe don't even consider this here. Just say anything. I don't even care about anything else. Just go with that. Public. That I guess. Return that. Yep. The button will be. Oh. These here are just button states now. What is this? Is it enum? What is it? What is it? Gamepad buttons. It's a struct. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. In order to do a lot of passing around, I've got to... Oh no. That is awful. I've got to do a lot of configury to do that. What the... Configury is not even a word. Can I don't think I can do what I'm... We're just going to do A for now. In order to be able to make that work, when I pass something in and that just passes it out. Actually, no, because it's not a array. It's a parameter on the thing, so I don't think you can do that. You're thinking Python or JavaScript. I don't think you can do like this. It's not the way it works. Yeah, so I'm going to need to make this no longer a thing, and then this no longer a thing, and go through that pipeline. Okay. That is a whole thing. Maybe I should just rewrite it on the gamepad input service, because maybe it just cannot be done different. I don't like that it's written that way though. It should be the same way. No, we should make it better on our end. Yeah, we should make it better on our end. It should be the way that I wrote it. It should be capital. Okay, fair enough. We will do it this way. And we will manage. Gamepad input service, gamepad input service. We went wrong because I think I made this lowercase. Like a numpty. Okay, now this thing over here needs to say new gamepad input service, but that's fine. Now over into here. We will, instead of doing this, we will say is, no, not keyboard. Gamepad is button pressed. Button A. The button doesn't actually matter on this one. What does matter is me finding a controller. I have an Xbox controller over here. You can't hear me. I do have an Xbox controller though. Just plug that in. Xbox controller will definitely work because it'll be X input. So if anything works, it'll be this. Yep, told you. And my keyboard doesn't work. But that does. Okay, so that's pretty easy. But I need to do a whole bunch of kafuggery to make that work. Because what I need to do is to do something where I grab all of the states inside of here. And then I grab all of the, make a logical thing where I say, I want a button, grab me the button, and I go from there. And I just keep looking through players 1 to 4, looking for the button in a press state. So there's a bunch more to do there. But yeah. Now, this here is going to be my last commit for the stream, because I'm going to go make some tea. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the GitHub. I'm going to press issues, and I'm going to look at the issue for gamepad. It's number 2 on here. And what I can do is I can say 2. You don't need the square brackets, but you just need the hash. And I can say added gamepad support scene, maybe. Or started. I'll say started. It's not full on. It's not full on yet. We're going from there. So that's like started as 1, 2, right? You could edit these, it's fine. And then what happens? Yeah, it's doing a diff, it's fine. Everything's added in, right? Yep, and then what happens on your little git commit over here is it links back to your issue. So you know the little things you did and what they were for. You can even have it close via this. So yeah. Okay, but yeah, this is the last bit I'm going to do today on this. I have been Scott Foster. I've been talking to essentially myself for the entire stream, but that's not really the point. The point was to sort of get a real start on side projects, get a real start on really trying to get a game out the door, and a real start on actually starting and finishing something that I can actually be proud of doing. And that's what this here is. And hopefully I have done that. Hopefully this hasn't been a complete wash. Thank you very much. And I will catch you next time.